what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football, and welcome back to another edition of Sunday School. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. This edition of Sunday School brought to you by our good friends over at Von Lane. We'll tell you more about vonlane.com, but go check it out for yourself. And when you do, use that code OTF25, and you'll get $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But first, let me tell you about the topic. I became a little bit obsessed. This is what happens. Sunday School, unfortunately, you guys are really pretty much the audience of my obsessions about Texas football. I go rabbit holing when I start thinking about a certain topic. Unfortunately, I lose sleep over it because I got to stay up late and watch film and break it down and do the research. But this particular topic, I've been trying to get into all season long. I just really hadn't had the time. I want to talk about third downs for Texas offensively. And, you know, we've talked about the nature of third downs, how important they are. They're called the money downs. We've talked about that, how important third and longs are. We've discussed that, too, on Sunday School, right? 3rd and 7+ yards to gain. Well, I went back and looked at the 214, I believe, third downs Texas had all season long. And I wanted to find, some trends because Texas has not yet been the elite third down team. That's why this offense could really take a step forward if they become better in critical areas, because they haven't been good in those critical areas a lot of the times under Sark, at least half the time, right? Red zone offense has been a concern. Third down offense, they haven't been an elite third down offense. Where they were ranked last season, it was an improvement. They were 42nd overall, 42% third down conversion percentage. They were 70th in 2023, 38%. Percent third down conversion percentage. They were 38% as well in 2022. They were at 73rd in the country, and they were 30th in 2021. So similar to red zone, they had their best years under Bijan in those critical areas, in red zone and in third down. So I wanted to kind of look at third down and see if I could find, some conceptual trends that, some cheat codes possibly that I think have had a disproportionate amount of success on third down for Texas. So we'll look at some of those trends. Before we do that, though, let me tell you about some special things coming up on this platform today. It's a great day at On Texas Football. Well, it's always a great day to be a Longhorn, but a great day here at On Texas Football here this Sunday because Jeff Howe and CJ, they're always, we're always trying to do our best to try to get you guys the best in-depth stories and try to get you guys as close to the Longhorn program as possible. Well, CJ and Jeff are actually going to be at coaching school, which is kind of what Sunday school is, but they're going to be at coaching school, and Sark's going to be at coaching school, and they're going to have some video. They're going to have some great content from there as well. So you can check it out on ontexasfootball.com, but also they're going to have some breakdowns for you here as well on this platform, and some footage and video of Sark as well at coaching school. And in addition to that, we're going to move our 7:15 live stream on Sundays, which is usually the case. We're going to move it up, 1 hour. We're going to do it 1 hour earlier. We're going to do it at 6 Central Standard Time to coincide with the big announcement of one Derek Cooper, who the Longhorns are hoping will be picking them in his upcoming recruitment and announcement, which is coming up today. So that is the hope. So we're going to try to keep the good vibes going. So we're actually going to move the live stream for On Texas Football up 1 hour earlier because we're hoping to receive some good news. We want to break it down for all you folks. Okay, so that'll be coming up later on today. You got lots of content from Jeff Howe and CJ with Sark at coaching school and the Derek Cooper announcement at 6. So we'll move our live stream up a little bit earlier to coincide with that. So don't forget about it. All right. Let's dive into the topic right now. And I was, looking for certain cheat codes and concepts that would give Texas a boost on third down, add some juice to their third down potentially. And I saw some trends, right? There are some things that I noticed on third down for Texas offensively. First of all, your which we always expected, right? Your RPO, play action pass rates drop precipitously. You don't have those as amplifiers. So essentially, a lot of times on third down, Texas third down pass rate, I mean, you're 75+%. So you're throwing the ball most of the time on your third downs, unless you're at third and really, really short in one of those short yardage situations. But Sark prefers to throw the ball on third down. And when you're throwing the ball on third down, a lot of times, like I said, your play action pass, RPO amplifiers, those rates drop. And so what other cheat codes can you embed within the play design to help you? Now, we can get into route concepts and route combinations. That's something Sark is really, really good at. But I wanted to get into some things that are more quantifiable, right, analytically, that we can look at. So one thing that I noticed, the sacks, right? A lot of your sacks, you come about 37% of your sacks that you had this season came on third down. Which makes a lot of sense because those are predictable pass situations. Teams know you're going to throw the ball on third down. This was the disturbing thing, though. And this is what I thought I'd find as to why Texas struggles on third down a little bit. And it's probably the case last 2023 and 2022, maybe the last 3 seasons, post Bijan, I should say. A little bit over half of your third downs were third and longs. Third and 7+ yards to gain. A little over half of them. That's troubling, right? Because we talked about how in third and long the odds flip in favor of the defense. Now Texas was one of the best teams in the country at converting third and long situations. Texas third and long conversion rates. They were top 15 in all of college football, converting third and 7+ yards to gain. Around the Clemson game, they were at 33% by the end of the college football playoff in terms of converting third and long situations. Texas was probably right around 31%, maybe hovering a little bit below 32% overall, just based on the numbers that I have in Texas in third and long, which still that's good, and it's probably better than average. A lot better than average, I should say, for Texas. But you don't want to be in those third and long situations as much. If you're Texas, you want to try to avoid those third and long situations as much as possible. I'm going to dive into these numbers a little bit more. But that was the most troubling thing, is that Texas basically is close to averaging, third and long to go on their third downs. That's something that's got to change. You got to find a way to be a little bit more productive on first and second down. What did Bill Walsh say? The best third down call is the one you don't have to make. You don't even want to have to call a third down call if you can avoid it at all costs. But when you are in a third down situation for Texas, here are a couple of things that I found. And not shocking, because these are some things that, for me, I've already isolated as ways that Texas can boost and enhance the offense. First of all, the pre-snap motion is a cheat code for Sark, one of the vital signs of his offense, right? You can go track the pre-snap motion for Sark, and the pre-snap motion rate usually is higher in big games. It's higher when you play Alabama. It's higher against, Michigan. Because I've been tracking it. Let me use some of the rates. Pre-snap motion rates, kind of for Texas last season. You were at 75% in the Michigan game. Your average is a little over 60% this season. 61%, somewhere around there. You were at 75% in the Michigan game. You were at 72% in the Oklahoma game. Georgia, you're at 68%. Florida, you're at 68%. Georgia, the second time, you're over 80%. Arizona State, you're close to 70%. Big games, more pre-snap motion for Sark. It's one of his like creative indicators to me that show you that he's really deep in his bag offensively. It's just more and more pre-snap motion. And in third downs, he's close to up to 66% instead of his 61%. I think it should be even higher because it's a cheat code that's proven to work. And one of the things and I was looking at the explosive play rates for Texas on third downs, actually is pretty high. His explosive play rate offensively for Texas is around 9.5%. The explosive play rate for Texas on third downs over 13%. Because I think that's when Sark started. I think he starts using more of his cheat codes, which I'll get into here in a second. You go look at some of the empty rates for Texas. Empty rates for Texas usually are around 5.5% to 6% of your plays. In third downs, Texas empty rate doubles. It's like close to 14%. Because it's a predictable pass situation, you're going to throw the football. Empty gives you a really good, we talked about this, advantage, built-in advantage, which they'll have even more with Arch, and we'll talk about that too. I also noticed, and this is probably something that I think you'll have more success with, but the rate did not rise in third downs. Targets to motion. I'm a big fan of targets to motion. We talk about this all the time. Texas targets to motion rates last year, they were at 13%. That's targeting a player in motion prior to the snap, at the time of the snap. What I count on your passing play, I think you were at 12% of your targets to motion in third down situations. That should probably be higher. We'll talk about why. So here is my breakdown of those two particular cheat codes. So in empty, just looking at empty, what they call empty reload. A reload is when you start out empty, then you put a player back in the backfield. Empty, for those who don't know, is when you have nobody in the backfield, just a QB, right? Or the quarterbacks in the backfield. That's called empty. I've talked about this. We've had Sunday schools about it. If you don't remember it, please go back and see the previous Sunday schools about empty formation. But I include empty and empty reload in this breakdown and analysis. So if you look at third downs, just third downs period, your conversion rate on third down for Texas this year was 42.5%, which is, like I said, not bad. That had Texas 42nd in the country. Texas conversion rate on third downs in empty formation is above 50%. It's actually it's about 55% last season. Third down, when you decide to do empty or empty reloads, I put a reloads in there as well. Because it oftentimes is the same. It's an indicator for a QB. I like them actually out of empty, but empty reloads at times can do the same thing. Remember the Ohio State Jaden Blue touchdown, the second one, I believe it was. It was a reload. Jaden Blue start out empty, come back in the backfield. They know Sonny Styles is covering them. Boom. Sonny Styles is blitzing. Boom, they go to the wheel route. Even if you take reloads out of it, though, let's take reloads out of it, you're still at over 50% conversion rate, which is out of empty with no reloads on third downs. You're at 10.7 yards per attempt, over 10 yards per attempt, whether you're looking at reloads or no reloads, out of empty on third down. Your conversion rate, just passing the football, because sometimes there were, the quarterback decides to run the football on that third down, you're still over 50% conversion rate on third down out of empty formation. Over 10 yards per play. If I looked at third and long, which is, we talked about, one of the big issues for Texas, empty formation, third and long, Texas still over a 50% conversion rate on third and long situations using empty or utilizing the empty formation. So I think, to me, that's something, I've said it before, I think Texas is going to be even more lethal out of that concept with Arch, because I don't know if there's a more stressful concept formation to defend than a dual threat QB out of empty formation. It's just, it puts too much strain on a defense. to have to defend all of those, the +1 and all the concepts out of empty. So usually you just have to roll the dice. Teams will decide if they're going to blitz you or something like that. And the reason we're looking at third downs, because third downs where you get the most exotic, aggressive looks from defenses. That's when you're going to get the bread and butter, what they've been cooking up all week. That's when they're going to present it to you, because they know that's when you're most vulnerable. So you better have some way to, protect yourself from those vulnerabilities, or become the aggressor in that situation, because that's when defenses become the aggressor. Usually offenses, they're the aggressive ones. Defenses are always trying to, win that battle or wage that battle in terms of, hey, let's be the aggressor, right? Let's set the tone. Let's dictate the tempo, all those things. And offense usually has a natural advantage there. But on third down, especially third and longs, that's necessarily not the case. When you use these cheat codes that I'm talking about, you can once again regain that advantage on third downs. So empty formation, other down. So I went and looked at targets to motion too, because that's one of my favorite cheat codes. You guys know that. Targeting a player who was in motion prior to the snap or at the time of the snap. That's a target to motion. But let's look at it, applying it to third downs. We've talked about how effective it is. That's why it's one of my favorite cheat codes. But how effective it is on the money down. So this is why I looked at targets to motion. So overall, just looking at targets to motion on third downs, you're close to a 70% completion percentage. You're over 8.3 yards per attempt. That's not bad. Your explosive play rate, though, it's crazy. It's above 20% when you target players in motion prior to the snap at the time of the snap on third down. That's freaky stuff. Conversion rates. Let's look at your conversion rate on third down when you were targets to motion, right? You're at 47%, which is better than your average conversion rate, which is at 42.5% we discussed earlier. 13.8%, I think, of your targets on third down were targets to motion, which I think you should increase it. I would say that's something I would look at to increase. It's a cheat code that works. When you're losing a lot of your layers of your layers of hacks that Sarkisian always says his offense is an amalgamation of cheat codes. He just combines a lot of them to overwhelm the defense, to essentially overload their central processing unit and force mistakes and errors and mistakes and eye discipline. I think overall, targets to motion to me, and usually those are almost I feel like they're predetermined. I feel like the quarterback knows prior to the snap if it's a target to motion, but Sark has so much motion, you don't know when he's going to target that motion. So you can have a plan for it if you want to, but you may be reallocating resources and chasing ghosts. Because, like I said, he only does it. Last year, targets to motion were 13% of your total targets. On third downs, they're around 12%. So it's still close to the same range. I think you should increase them both. But your conversion rate, that's 47%. Actually, if I round up, it'd be 48%. That's an improvement. Look at the third and long conversion rate when you are targeting motion on third down. You're at overall, I think Texas, you're at 41%, which just their third down conversion rate overall is 42.5%, 43%. Third and long conversion rate, as I told you earlier, Texas is around 31%, which is, that's, like I said, that's one of the better marks in the country. So that's top 15, top 20 mark in terms of third and long conversion rate. But your third and long conversion rate jumps to 41% when you're targeting motion overall. So just to me, and like I said, over half of your third downs were third and long situations. And so I hope that won't continue. You would like for Texas to be, in a situation where they have more third and mediums, third and shorts, or even avoid third down altogether. But if you're going to be in third down, more targets to motion, more empty formation. As a matter of fact, how about I look at when they did both? Didn't happen a lot. All right, very few plays. I only got 6 plays where they did both. They had the empty formation or empty reload and targeted a player in motion on the same play on third down. Very specific categories, right? Third down, also targeting motion, also out of empty formation or empty reload. All right, so very specific. But the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Sarita Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size. But when all of those hacks and cheat codes were combined in that specific situation, 83% completion percentage, over 13 yards per attempt, explosive play rate over 30%, over 13 yards per play, and your conversion rate 4 out of 6 you converted. It's pretty damn good. Over 66% conversion rate on those situations. Very small sample size. I mean, minuscule. I mean, circumcising a mosquito kind of small. I get it. But my point is that Sark's offense in a nutshell is just combining a lot of cheat codes and hacks. And on third down, my argument would probably be more of those. More motion, more targets to motion, more empty formation. And I've already said, to wrap things up, Arch is going to be good on those things. He's great on third down. We talked about this, right? Arch on third down in his 2 starts. I mean, he was fantastic. Over 80% completion percentage. 100. He had 18 yards per attempt, 30% explosive play rate, and a 55% conversion rate. And that's not including the drop that somebody had, which I won't point out, on one of those third downs. And if you include the penalties, because one, that was a PI and that was a horse collar, I believe, on another third down. Out of the 10 third downs that he would have faced, those third and longs, I should say, we're talking about third and longs here, sorry. Third and long situations, right? Out of those third and long situations, you would have had a favorable outcome on 7 of those third and longs for March. Those are third and long numbers I was giving you in case I didn't say that. All right, not just third down, third and long, third and 7+ yards to go in those 2 starts. He was fantastic in those situations. The butt naked dropbacks, as we talked about. And then in empty, he was also really good. He was 75% completion percentage out of empty. If you look at the conversion rate, 3 out of 4 conversions for Arch out of empty formation, third down conversions out of empty, not just third longs, third downs, period. So, like I said, I think all of those elements combined, new quarterback who flourishes in those systems with those hacks and cheat codes I talked about, and combine that with I think the third down issue that Texas at least had last season, which was too many third and longs. And Texas can handle it. I mean, Texas has the offensive firepower, as we saw. They're the most explosive offense in the country, arguably, last season. But, you don't want to have to put yourself in that situation, especially a first-time starting quarterback in those situations too often. All right, just before we let's thank our sponsor, our friends over at Von Lane. Before we get done here, friends at Von Lane, they can offer you folks the most luxurious trip between and visiting the major Texas cities. I know a lot of you out there probably try to fly when you're visiting, Houston or Dallas or Austin or Fort Worth or San Antonio, and that can be a bit of a hassle. It can be just stressful. Period. Right? Do you have to worry about the flight delays and the airport chaos, which is always really troublesome? And do you feel like driving? I mean, that's a bit of a hassle as well, right? You have to worry about traffic and road rage, and you burn an entire day of productivity. Well, there's a third option, and it's better in every way. Our friends over at Von Lane, folks. You arrive at a luxury hotel terminal, no TSA lines, no long-term parking lots, just a seamless boarding experience that takes minutes, not hours. You settle into a plush leather seat, a hot towel, pillow, and blanket are at arm's reach. Your attendant offers complimentary snacks, beverages, and on select trips, a full meal. And if you need to relax, you can lean back and enjoy the ride. But if you want to stay productive, there's high-speed Wi-Fi and power at every seat. So while you're unplugging or powering through, the Von Lane team will be monitoring traffic in real time to use smarter routes and efficient detours, making sure your trip is smooth and on schedule. And now is the perfect time for you to plan your fall travel. Booking is open through September, so whether you're headed to a college football game, like a lot of you will be, or a weekend getaway, or a business trip that needs to be done right, Von Lane makes the journey part of the reward. Von Lane serves Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, San Antonio, and in the Southeast, Atlanta, Nashville, and Memphis. So please visit vonlane.com. That's VONLANE.com. Use that code OTF25 and you'll save $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. That's Von Lane Elevated Regional Bus Transportation. Thank you very much to our friends at Von Lane. We appreciate them and their ongoing support of On Texas Football. And don't let me forget, folks, to remind you later on today, going to be great content coming up from CJ and Jeff Howe with Sark at Coaching School. So we'll have some great stories at ontexasfootball.com. And, of course, there'll be some content here on this YouTube platform at On Texas. And later on today, this evening, when Derek Cooper makes his announcement, we will be live for it. So we're going to move the live stream, all right, up 1 hour. We're going to do it 1 hour early. We usually do it at 7:15 on Sundays. We're going to do it at 6 o'clock to make sure that we're live because we're expecting good news. That's right. All right. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for all of your support and participation. Thanks to Matthew behind the scenes. He is the real MVP. Couldn't do it without him. And we'll be joining you later on this evening. And for Matthew and for our friends over at Von Lane, I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.